Things I wish I knew in my 20s. With me being in my mid 20s, I have learned a lot of things that I want to share with you guys. I have learned to not care about much things these days. You know, I feel like I get caught up with trying to make everything perfect, and I think in your 20s it's really just about taking risks. You know, I want to take as many risks and as you can, because as I get older, I have 5 years left, then I'm in my 30s, and that's a whole different ball game that I quite frankly do not want to get into. But yeah, I want to just take so many risks and fail constantly, but at least I took those risks. You know, I can't take risks if I have a kid. I can't take as many risks if I have a girlfriend. I can't just overall take many risks if I have many bills, because it's just, you can't fall back from things. But I haven't taken as much risks as I would like to have taken. I think that has been my biggest kind of fuck up, you know? So I wanna take more risks in life. I want things to be more exciting in my mid-20s. Another thing is, who cares about the timer in your life? I feel like nowadays there's these standards where you know in your 20s you should be constantly go on dates. You should meet the love of your life. You should be successful. You know, there's always things that people will say about you that you should be doing in your 20s, and who cares? Who cares? Look at me. Look where I'm at right now in my life. It's not where I want to be, and I'm not thinking about everyone else, in my life, or I'm not looking at social media that are people that are 21 so successful, or the people that I went to high school with, and I'm like, oh damn, they have a kid, they're married, they've been together for so long, they're successful. I generally don't give a fuck what the hell you're doing. And I think that's the one thing I personally just like about myself, that I never really cared about what others did. Because who cares? We all are put on the earth with a certain cards that you were dealt with. And my cards were a little harder, but ultimately those cards don't define who you are. Another thing that I've learned is to be more happier. Sometimes in life you can just get caught up with life, and we get caught up on just everything, and just we don't enjoy what we have in front of us. And time goes by like quickly, It's just like, before you know it, you're 30, and that's it. They have a whole new other chapter, 10 years to go. I guess maybe that's just not about, in your 20s. That's probably just an overall thing. Another thing, grind hard. Being young right now, I mean, maybe I'm not young. I feel like I'm old, but, it's all about perspective. Age is just a number, This is the time to be rich. This is the time to make a lot of money. This is the time to just make so much money, and then when you get older, it's kind of like, you don't have to work as much. I think grinding is really the number one thing in your 20s. When I turned 21, I went to a lot of clubs, and I partied a lot. I don't do that anymore. I think that's just like a 1-2 year phase of mine. Pointless. I don't do that anymore. Would I ever do it again? Very rarely I will go party. And I guess everyone in your 20s, a lot of people in your 20s tend to party. And yeah, it's cool and all, but who cares about it? I know a lot of people still my age are still partying, and I just don't care anymore. Yeah, it's cool to have fun, of course. But if you're having fun broke as fuck, what the fuck are you doing? If you have $20 in your bank account and you're going to the club, you are you are a bum. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you got no money, don't go out. Another thing, this is really important in your 20s, is if you have the opportunity to live somewhere free for however long you have to save up, maybe get a house or just have a lot of money saved up where you're financially set for a while, do that. I feel like a lot of people hate on people that live with their parents, for so long, and it's kind of like, oh, you should be independent, living on your own, blah, blah, blah. No, fuck that shit. How the world is now, I wish I could live with my parents. I wish I could have, but I couldn't. Some people don't have the opportunity to do that, which is fine. But if you have the opportunity, you should do that shit. Save up money, go, with having no rent to be paid for, go experience the world. Having so many bills, it puts more stress on you. You don't want to have stress. You want things to be just a lot easier in your 20s. So you're slowly just building up your income, Also, try not to have debt. I wouldn't it's good to have a credit card, whatever, but don't have debt. Like, if you went to school, well, that's another story, because you probably have a lot of debt. I don't necessarily think you need to go to school to be successful, but debt will really mess you up, especially school debt. I think that's the number one thing. If you have school debt in your 20s, which I think most people do, it's very unfortunate, because if you don't find a job in your career path that you spent $100,000 on in school, you're setting yourself up for failure. One big important thing I also learned is friends ultimately don't last in your 20s. Well, maybe at least my friends didn't last in my 20s. High school friends, 20s is really the time you really value your friends, because this is the time where you probably still have friends from high school and you guys talk still, but eventually everyone starts going, everyone just goes their own path. And some people stay, some people don't. Most of them don't stay. And you learn that, you lose a lot of friends. And it's hard. It's hard from a person that has lost nearly 20 friends from the most dumbest reasons ever. It's hard. Ultimately, 20s is tough. This is the time where you try to find yourself, but ultimately, there is no timer in life. We all have our own paths, So, just take it day by day like I do. I'm trying to figure it all out, and I'm still struggling at 25. But it is, as I get older, it's just like, shit, man. I'm not as young as I used to be. And I think that's the most scariest thing ever, is you're constantly getting older and older in your 20s, the late 20s. Then I'm like, shit. I was just 21. What happened? Now you'll probably be asking yourself, why should I take advice from a mid-25-year-old motherfucker? Well, I have a lot of experiences. I definitely grew up a lot faster. Now it's definitely slowed down. And I want you to learn from my mistakes. But ultimately, it's on you guys to figure that out yourself. So, I hope this helped. But yeah, this is what you should do in your things. But yeah, these are things that I learned in my 20s, even though I'm only in my mid 20s. Stuff 5 years ago. So maybe I do this again in 5 years, and then maybe it's a better kind of testimony to see what happened. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know in the comments what you have learned in your 20s, or if you're in your 20s now, what are you learning so far? But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and bye.